If you are still building static front-end application in 2026, you're already behind. In fact, modern applications aren't just about design anymore. You're about real-time data, smart features, and interactive experience. And the easiest way to level up your front-end projects in 2026 are what? APIs. In this video, I will show you some of the best free API you can start using right now to build your projects that actually feel professional even if you are just getting started in this tech industry. So without no further ado, let us get into it. So firstly, we have OpenAI API. So if you are building anything location based, this is a must-have tool as a developer. So with this OpenAI API, you are going to get real-time weather data, forecast, and even global coverage, perfect for things like weather application, dashboard, or even smart UI features. Just have it in mind that if you have any project of your type that you want to build that has to do with maybe location based or maybe weather, then you don't have to just stress or maybe gathering data manually, or you want to build the application that you don't want to waste a lot of time. So you just have to use this OpenAI API. So next on the list we have REST countries API. I know it sounds like REST countries API. Why REST? Yeah, so that is just the name of the API, and it is one of the most popular API you must know as a developer. So this REST country API, it gives you country data, names, flags, population, and even currencies. So if you are building any application of your choice that has to do with maybe getting list of countries or getting country's name or country flag or even country data in terms of their population or in terms of their currency, this REST countries API is the best option, and it is super useful for forms, drop down, or anything involving location, which is kind of similar to the OpenAI API. And the best part of this REST countries API is that no authentication is needed, no login is needed. Just get into the website, create an API key, and start using your API. So now if you care about design, maybe you are thinking of, okay, how do I even add images to my application, onto my web application, or even how are you going to get stock images that you're going to use in the development of your application? You just know that you have Unsplash API. So Unsplash API is a game changer in which you can get access to high quality images that you can use in your application or your web application. So, and this is very perfect for portfolios, landing page, blog, e-commerce application, and a lot of them. So for practice and testing, there is JSONPlaceholder. So JSONPlaceholder API, this is a fake API that lets you stimulate real backend data. So if you are learning how the backend API works, this is one of the best place you can start. I repeat, so if you are learning how the backend API works, this JSONPlaceholder is the best place you can start. So next up, you have the news API. I believe from the word news API, you should understand or have an hint of what the API is about. So the same way, the news API is an API that gives you live news data around the world, and it is great for building news application or content platform or even trending dashboard where you want to get real-time data of things happening around the world. So now one of the most popular API you must know as a developer is the TMDB API. So the TMDB API, it is very, very easy. So it gives you movie data, rating, even thriller, and even cast, everything. And it is perfect for building Netflix style application or recommendation system. So if you are building anything that deals with, maybe you want to get movies data, or you want to get trailers of movies, or maybe you are building an application for maybe similar to like Netflix, I need maybe like you need a sample video to add to your web application for your start. The TMDB API is the best. So coming into the next one, if you are building anything concerning music related, you can check out Spotify API. So Spotify API is one of the most popular music related API that you must always know as a developer, and it is a very open source, and it's also free for a developer to use. So you can, with the Spotify API, you can access songs, playlists, and even control playback. So now here is where things get powerful. We have Firebase. So I believe from the word Firebase, as a developer, I know if you are a developer, you must have an idea of what Firebase is. So in case you don't have an idea of what Firebase is, so with this Firebase API, this is basically a backend without needing a backend. It sounds funny, right? So I said it is a backend without actually needing a what? A backend. So it has authentication, database, and real-time updates all handled for you. So if your application has authentication, database, or even real-time updates, all those things, you don't have to worry about it. Firebase will handle everything for us. Are you getting? So, and Firebase it is perfect for building full stack application, chat application, or SaaS application, or even SaaS projects. So the Firebase application is very, very good. Maybe you're a front-end developer and you don't really have an idea of back-end development. I really recommend this Firebase for you. But don't worry, all the API we listed in this video are going to be put in the description of the video below. So moving forward, if you have ever wanted to monetize your application and you need payments, maybe you want to add a payments gateway to your application, that is where Stripe API come in. So Stripe API is also one of the most popular payment gateway application you can implement inside your project. So it handles secure payments, subscription, and even global transaction. And now one of the most important one of the 2026 API is the what? OpenAI. So this lets you add AI features to your application. So like chatbots, content generation, coding assistance on, all with a few API calls. So imagine you have to create a chatbot features in your application, also even a coding assistance. Those things will always take a lot of time to build. So the purpose of us using the OpenAI API is to make things very, very easier for us, right? So if you want your project to stand out, this is a big one. So we always have a quick bonus for you in every of our video. We're always making sure you are always a tips after even after watching the video. So the quick bonus for today is, instead of you searching endlessly for APIs, we can use Rapid API Hub. So the Rapid API Hub is a very, very big platform in which it is a marketplace where you can discover thousands of API in one place. So no matter how that big your application is or even how small it is, and you need an API or you need any type of API you want, so I recommend the Rapid API Hub. It is very, very, very good. So most of the APIs by developer nowadays, you can find a lot of them there. So now before you go and start adding your APIs to your application, don't use API randomly. Just understand that you don't have to use API randomly. Don't use API randomly. There are 3 things you need to ask yourself. The first one is, does this actually improve my application? If you can understand how that, okay, yes, the API will improve your application, fine, you can actually go with it. But if it does not improve your application, please, I recommend don't use it, right? So, and the second one is, does this solve a real problem? So don't just choose an API on a random day and feel like, okay, yes, and because you love the API, and I feel like you should use it. No. Ask yourself, does this solve a real problem in your application? If you should solve it, fine, you can go ahead while using it. And the third one is it necessary? So don't just choose unnecessary API and start using it to application you get. So it is very, very bad. Please, you need to ask yourself that 3 questions. The first one I mentioned is, does this actually improve my application? If you can understand that one, finally you can now go into the next one, which is, does this solve a real problem, or what is it necessary? So ask yourself the 3 questions first before you can finally go into choosing an API to pick. So because using too many API can actually make your app slower and harder to manage. So here are the things I recommend for you as a developer when using your API, right? So the first one is, you need to be aware of handle error properly. You get to handle the error properly. So if you feel like you don't understand what that error is saying, or you don't even have an idea, don't bother of maybe saying, you can debug, right? You can just go through the code and try to fix it yourself. But if you feel like you're not getting it or something, just copy the error, paste it on Google. After pasting it, you can see different options or even documentation about how to solve that particular error, right? And the second one is, don't expose your API key. If you should expose your API key, it can cause data loss or even an attacker to get into your application, right? So, and the next one we have is avoid unnecessary requests. To avoid unnecessary requests. And the last one is always think about performance. So think about performance. So here is the truth. The best front-end developer in 2026 aren't the one writing the most code. No, they're the one using the right tool. So as a developer, the thing is you cannot do everything yourself. You are still going to need some particular tool, one or the other, to use in this your developer stage or level. So it doesn't what start small, pick any 2 or 3 API from the list I mentioned and build something real. So that is how you can actually level up in this developer or in this tech industry. So if you find this helpful, drop a like and subscribe and tell me which API are you going to try first. Thank you and see you in the next one.